Hey guys, it's Debbie, and I've got Dr. Shivani Gupta on the show today to talk about how we can reduce inflammation. I don't know about you, but I know as I age, I'm on a mission to improve the aging process by changing how we do things and not blame the aging process, but let's start changing our ways on how we recover from workouts, how we change our nutrition plan to meet the needs of our changing of hormones and all that for us middle age. I think I'm so much younger. I don't know how I'm middle age now. It just sounds so old, but I'm there. And instead of blaming what's going on, change everything. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So if what you're doing is not working anymore, well, let's change the ways. So this podcast season, I'm having different guests come on the show to talk about ways that you might want to implement into your own life to improve your aging process. So that means cognitive health, chronic inflammation, reducing chronic inflammation, gut health, the gut skin connection, the gut brain connection, all things related to being fit and healthy from the inside out. So today we're going to talk about anti-inflammatory protocols and how you can reduce that level and maybe tracking with blood chemistry markers as a CRP level on your blood chemistry panel. I will be sharing a discount code to Function Health because I'm finding I'm sending all my clients over to Function Health because they do 100 different labs and it's only 300 something dollars. I was sending clients to Alta Labs or some other online places because the doctors sadly are not running all the blood chemistry panels we want to do. And so the insurance company charges $1,000 for them. You can just go get them done on Function Health. So ask me for the discount code if you're interested in that. But we want to look at what are our red flags and be health optimizer, lower inflammation through nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, supplementation. We call the DRESS protocol as FDN practitioners, and test and not guess. Do we have hidden sources of inflammation that is causing havoc in our body? Do we have external stressors combined with internal stressors? And things we need to test and not just go on with how we're doing that. This is my new normal. This is how I feel. I'm getting older. I'm supposed to feel like crap. No, it's not. So let's talk to someone that's an Ayurvedic medicine doctor, Dr. Gupta, and have her share her knowledge and wisdom with us. All right. I get to have another special, beautiful guest on the show to talk about improving how we age from the inside out. So, Dr. Shivani, thanks for joining me to talk shop and share your wisdom and your experience and what you're working on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I just really am on a mission, as I said before we hit record, to help all of us be health optimizers, to take ownership of our health today before we get, don't wait until you have problems. Don't wait until you're struggling and learning what we can do, have more tools in our toolbox to do what we can do to be our best self as we age and live the best life in the second half of life. Because I want to be traveling around the world when I retire and not be in a with a walker cruising around. So let's talk about what we can do. So tell me, what's your why? What's your drive? What do you like?
Well, I love that you teach us how to age gracefully and how to
Mhm.
age in such a powerful way because oftentimes I find we're just coasting through life and we're not recognizing that just because we feel like we're being slowed down by aging, that that's a choice and we could choose to approach it completely differently. So you and I are in complete alignment there. My background is I grew up in the US. And I also grew up going to India every year of my life. And each time I got sick in the US, I'd go to the pediatrician. They'd give me a script. I'd get it filled. Of course, my parents would fill my prescriptions. I would take those courses of antibiotics and I'd get better. And then when I'd go to India, if I got sick, my grandma would instead make like a tea and elixir. She would just put different spices and things together and I'd be healed. And I kept thinking, who's right? What's the better way? Why are there such different approaches? And fast forward, by the time I got to college, I had taken back to back Augmentin, really strong antibiotics. I got disastrously sick in college, and they're like, "Oh, we can't give you anything anymore. You've already destroyed your gut." And I was like, "Destroyed my gut? I didn't do anything." They're like, "Yeah, all the medications you've been taking." And that same time frame, I was in India, and I got sick, and the doctor was like, "I'm going to give you these medicines and you'll be better." And I just looked at him and I was like, "No, no, apparently, no, we're not doing this anymore." And it was really strong antibiotics and then 11 medications for symptoms. And I looked at him and I said, "First of all, you didn't recommend a probiotic. Second of all, can you dumb that antibiotic down a couple notches? Don't explode my gut." And so I really became a gut health obsessed person in my early 20s. And I looked at my parents and I said, we're in the land of yoga and Ayurveda, this entire system of health. Can we look at it and see if it'll heal me? And it did. I went to all the healing centers. I detoxed my body. I read my gut health. And I thought, okay, how am I going to share this with the world? We all need to transform our health. We all need to understand that lifestyle and spices and natural tools and natural approaches are beneficial. And so that's what I've been doing for 20 years now. I did my master's in Ayurvedic sciences, my PhD in Ayurvedic sciences as well, and my dissertation topic was turmeric, the spice. And I got so obsessed with turmeric that I've been on a whole journey with turmeric and teaching the Ayurvedic lifestyle to be anti-inflammatory and detox and supportive.
Wow. So you focus on gut health, but really looking at overall reducing inflammation in the body so we can thrive as we age and not struggle by improving our gut health, really, and how we can do that with lifestyle, nutrition, and supplement where needed.
Yes, yes. I really look at it as the six pillars. So a lot of people haven't heard of Ayurveda. Ayurveda is this entire system of science, medicine, and health and healing from India that's 5,000 years old. So just like we've all heard of acupuncture, and that comes from traditional Chinese medicine, which is an entire ancient system unto itself, in Ayurveda, we have this system. And so the six pillars that I pull from Ayurveda that I love to teach about are one, your elemental constitution. We teach that we are part of nature and we're all made up of the five elements. And so knowing the primary driving force for you will help you customize and personalize your whole life. So you might be primarily air, you might be primarily fire, or you might be primarily earth. But that decides how you eat, when you eat, what you eat, the timings for your sleep, the timings for a lot of things. So understanding your primary element is the first step. And I have that dosha quiz on my website.
Okay. I
And
was going to
then
ask, how do you
under,
figure that out? Dosha quiz.
yeah, yeah, you take the quiz. And once you take that dosha quiz, my website's at drshivani.com. All of a sudden you'll know. And people email me back. They're like, "How'd you know all that about me?" I'm like, "This is ancient. I just get to teach it and have fun with it." So that's the part one. And then part two is circadian clock, which so many wonderful practitioners like you are talking about. Like there's a circadian
Mhm.
clock, live according to circadian rhythm. Ayurveda taught us we must honor that clock or we're defying nature and we're going to cause dis-ease because we're in that defiance, as opposed to be in flow with nature and let nature support you in building the health that you deserve. Then
I
we
love
talk a
that.
lot about the sattvic diet. It's like a yogic diet. It's an understanding that food is medicine and understanding that how we eat and when we eat is as important as what we eat,
Mhm.
which is a pretty powerful statement because
I
nowadays we
say that
obsess a
all the
lot.
time. So everyone hear that again. She says what I said. Verify that. Thank you.
Nice. Nice. I love that. I thought I was the only one who said it. I'm so glad someone else is telling you guys. How you eat and when you eat is as important as what you eat. You
Yes.
can eat the best food, but if you eat it at the completely wrong time, watching stressful stuff on TV and iPhone, boom, useless. You just did a garbage move. You didn't absorb anything. And
Mhm.
so I teach a lot about topics. I want everyone to absorb their nutrition and get the benefits and really honor food and receive it and assimilate the benefits. Then
Mhm.
Ayurveda teaches a lot of gut health. It's actually the core of the entire system because we taught that we all have a digestive fire. Our job is to honor that fire, build that fire. And it's your not only will your Agni, your digestive fire, give you ojas, which is vitality and energy, it can also, if it's dysregulated, give you ama, which we call toxins, and this toxin residue that forms all inside of us. And then we wonder, why are we inflamed and nothing is working right? And so
Mhm.
gut health is really a very big central theme. And we taught that gut health is brain health, immune health, mood. It's everything. We knew that 5,000 years ago. So Ayurveda is the king of having those tools available to detox and
Mhm.
support and rebuild gut as well. Then we teach a lot about the Ayurvedic detox rituals. That's my fifth pillar. The self-care rituals that you build throughout your day, which keep you detoxed, keep you supported. They build vitality and keep you tied to your circadian rhythm, and you can customize those to your dosha. And then the last one, sixth pillar, is super spices, which is my favorite because I love teaching turmeric. So I talk a lot about spices and herbs and plants and how the plant kingdom gives us so much magic. It's innate, intelligent tools that work with our bodies to keep us healthy and whole.
Hmm. So I love all that. I think I wanted to push pause first on the detox part because I think
Gotcha.
that gets confusing to people. What is detoxification? What does it mean? What does it entail? So in Ayurvedic medicine, as one of the pillars, how do you explain that detox?
So, detox to us is firstly an annual process that you should never skip. So, we teach about annual detoxing once a year. Take 7, 14, or 21 days and
Mm.
so I've gone to India and stayed in these centers multiple times, and no one else wants to go because it gets a little gross. But they do NM. They do really rough massages to mobilize the fat and the toxins in your system into like fluidity so they will come out of you through every orifice.
Mhm.
They make you do infrared sauna.
Oh,
It's like, wow. It's like the ultimate oil change for your body in all levels, not
I
just the
like that oil
physical, but
change.
there's yeah, the ultimate oil change to really pull everything out through your pores, through, your digestive system. And you can see it all come out of you, that impacted and stored up garbage that we keep in ourselves. I think there's a statistic that we all are walking around with like up to 3 pounds, probably more, of impacted, horrible, old, calcified stool stuff and food stuff in our gut that's just not serving us. It also is a mental and spiritual and emotional journey because you're going to meditate, breath work, a lot of fasting. I do a lot of juice fasting and things like that during my cleanses. So that's a full-on whole enchilada extreme version of what Ayurveda wants you to do.
So that's
In
three
America, I don't,
weeks
that's
typically
3 weeks.
when you go.
Yes. And we also teach that at the intersection of seasons, we should do a weekly detox as
Mhm.
well. So that's like if you want to be so intense about it and get it all right level, not all of us do that. The simplified version of that I teach is every intersection of quarters, find a week. So between spring and summer, between summer and fall, take a week and just start practicing a few cleaner habits like fasting, cut your inflammatory foods. So I ask people to cut 2, 3, or all 5 of gluten, dairy, sugar, alcohol, red meat, which is hard for some people to digest. So just take a week and like drop it down so your gut can heal. So you're hitting the
Mhm.
reset button. Let go of all toxic habits and things like that for 1 week. Then I do teach if we could take one big good detox together for 21 days in any of my programs that I do with people. They choose their level, 1, 2, or 3. Sometimes people come into detoxing and really what they need is self-care and self-love and to rebuild and ground and put
Mhm.
themselves back into wholeness. We can't take anything away if we aren't whole. And so really I start there with a lot of people because they're like, I'm coming in exhausted. Like, no worries.
Mhm.
The detox for you is let's fill your cup. Then we're going to talk about cleaning out the system later, but that alone is important. My second level is let's talk about a couple of these foods coming out of your life. Walking, circadian walk. Let's align you to your circadian rhythm. Let's honor sleep. Let's really put together a detox plan that works. Maybe more ghee in their lives, or we bring in khichdi, which is a special porridge from Ayurveda. It's just basmati rice and split mung beans and very simple spices, but that porridge is like eating a whole food. So then they can eat a khichdi diet. They don't have to eat anything else. And then my level 3 is let's go as far and fast as you want to. Let's sauna, let's colonic, let's really give up the inflammatory foods and do a profound detox because that's the reset button that most of us need. If we can tolerate it and make the space for it, then you're not going to do heavy workouts. You're only going to walk and yoga during that time frame. And really, we're trying to just give the body a chance to clean out everything it needs to clean out.
Yeah, love that. So it's more you're saying once a year, we need an annual cleanup.
Yes.
But if you can do it quarterly, change of seasons, so the end of the season, not like full moon cycle. Do you look at that, or is it like end
You
of
can. You
winter?
can actually look at the moon cycle. So we do think of the 11th day after the new moon as a beautiful detox day as well, if you want to bring it into monthly. For me, at this point, I don't normally block 3 weeks to do the big detox. I make sure my daily detox habits happen, and then every quarter, I'm doing a detox 1 week. And so
Hmm.
then I don't really see the big need for the big one. Maybe every other year, it would be good to go into a center and do that whole thing.
So in the word detoxification, we think liver detox pathways, phase one, two, and three. So, how is it in Ayurvedic medicine thinking detoxification and supporting detoxification at a related to the liver function?
Sure. So Ayurveda didn't talk about liver. We talked more about Agni, digestive fire.
Mhm.
And so looking at any given person and their dosha or their constitution, where like if someone comes to me as a client, I'm always like going to do the dosha quiz first, understand them through all the history I take on them, understand like what are you coming to me for? What do you need help with? And then understanding that oftentimes whatever the accumulation is in the system, a detox journey is the best way to clear those accumulations. And then once you've cleared the field and cleared the deck, then you can kind of look at, okay, what's left here that needs to be addressed? Is it more doshic imbalance? Is it something else? So we look at detox as you have this campfire within you, you have this Agni, and your job is to build a very healthy, strong fire. And anytime you build a campfire, you're going to take small branches, medium branches, large branches, you're going to put those together to build this fire. You're going to honor that this fire is going to be what's strong enough to cook your food while you're living out in nature. And then at night, you're going to settle that fire down and you're going to let it just sit as embers until you're ready to open it back up the next day. The problem we have as a society is a lot of times we've done 50 different things to create a weak fire. And so all day we're trying to drop a meal on this fire, ask it to cook it. It can't. And thus, a lot of what we're eating is becoming this toxin residue in the system. We're not really releasing all the enzymes, we're not releasing the digestive acids properly. The whole system's trying its best, but it's like, well, I only got 80% done. I guess I'll just sit on the other 20 and park it where I can. And then we wonder why we're inflamed. It's because that fire wasn't supported. And that starts with oral microbiome. Another simple habit is don't pour ice water in your meals because that's like pouring ice water on your fire. And so we really look at build the fire, clear all the problems that are impacting the fire. And thus the detox process that the body will innately do custom to you will happen because the body's intelligence is there to do it. Now, what you're talking about is in modern day times through functional medicine, we have amazing science and terminology to describe it at a much deeper level. But Ayurveda, in their rudimentary language, said, I fix your fire, I fix everything.
So, by fixing the gut health is fire in Ayurvedic medicine.
Yeah,
So, addressing that. So, I think order of operations, where to start to repair, rebuild, restore, or to give it oil change and get everything functioning at optimal level. In Ayurvedic medicine, we want to start with strengthening our fire.
we
That,
do. We're going to always have that conversation with someone. What are you doing? And if someone's like, I
yeah.
smoke, I drink, and I eat sugar all day, I think the first conversation will be let's remove the insults, obviously. And then it's like, okay, well, what are the habits that you have that are impacting the gut? Oh, you're not sleeping? Let's focus on sleep.
Mhm.
Oh, you're not eating 3 square meals a day? Let's fix that. So it's like, how do we shift the habits? Because if we don't remove bad habits, it doesn't matter if I heal your gut, you're just going to rubber band back to the problem. Now we can talk about gut healing protocols, and then we're going to talk about that maintenance plan for after to maintain the result.
Well, that's what I always talk about, that you can run all the functional labs as you want and take all the supplements you hear about online, but until you address almost the foundations. And then even before that, I don't know if this is in Ayurvedic medicine, but I'm going into the role of the vagal nerve and working on your not just foundations, but before that, the wiring system. So it's building your house on a solid foundation and making sure the electrical wiring system is working before you start doing all this other stuff. And it's just, I was thinking, okay, work backwards.
Yeah.
What's broken in the person and meet them where they're at on their journey. But is it vagal nerve in your world and Ayurvedic medicine at all to in a different
Yeah.
term maybe?
Yeah, so when we teach about the self-care rituals, we call that dinacharya, the daily self-care rituals that we're meant to do every day to live a preventive and healthy lifestyle. And the goal of Ayurveda is to bring body, mind, and spirit into alignment. And so really when people ask me like, is it a spiritual teaching? I'm like, well, it's medicine, it's health and healing, it's a lifestyle, it's prevention. And in the end, what do you get? You get body healthy and well. Then your mind is at peace. Your emotions are settled and at peace, and you can finally have this true spiritual alignment. So my gift from Ayurveda is like this vibration that is the byproduct of doing the lifestyle and living this lifestyle. And so Dinacharya is our way to constantly interact between our own physical body and subtle body and bring everything into true alignment as you're talking about. And so we start our morning by touching the ground, touching our forehead, and setting an intention for the day. And in the process, what are we doing? By scrunching the body downwards, you're actually compressing all your organs and helping support what's most important in gut health, which is that first bowel movement. We want to make sure the system's moving. If there's constipation, we've got trouble. And so Ayurveda, first and foremost, is like, what are we doing towards to get to that first movement? Then we'd recommend having a cup by your bedside with water. And so the first thing you can do is hydrate the system. Some people might want to do that after brushing their teeth. Some people are fine with it before, but we keep a copper lined cup by the side of the bed. So the first thing we're doing is hydrating our cells again. And the copper is antibacterial, so it'll keep the water cleaner. Now, some people are high copper. Those people should not be using all the copper things we talk about. So just be aware of that. Like I have been high copper in the past, so I keep an eye on that. Then we talk about brushing your teeth and using a copper tongue scraper. A copper tongue scraper gently scrapes all the organs of the body because we teach in Ayurveda that just like in reflexology and Chinese medicine, all our organs are reflected on the bottom of the feet. So when you press on someone's feet, you shouldn't do it when they're pregnant. It can affect their body. In the same way, we teach all those organs are reflected on the tongue. So when you gently scrape 7 to 14 times, you're going to clear your taste buds. We know you're going to increase nitric oxide, which in modern days we know is beneficial. And we're also going to detox. It's the first step to detoxing, and it supports gut health in the morning and igniting the digestive fire for the day. So it's like your first step towards gut health. Then after that, we teach oil pulling. Take any food grade organic oil, maybe coconut oil, and put 1 to 2 tablespoons in the mouth and swish that around for 5 to 20 minutes. Once you do that, what you're doing is you're detoxing your oral cavity. And we know that the oral microbiome is the beginning now of the gut microbiome. And Ayurveda already knew that. Ayurveda always knew our oral health is so key. And so by cleaning out the mouth, we're really removing those toxins, removing that bacteria, and you can spit it in the trash as opposed to sink, toilet, or shower because you don't want to clog the pipes of your home. So just pay attention to that. I teach it so much. I'm always like, don't screw up all the houses.
My sister-in-law did that. We had to go once years ago, fix her bathroom plumbing, coconut oil.
Really?
Yeah,
There you go. So that's an
it does happen.
example of it. Yeah, it does happen. And so these are just the beginning of the rituals. But your question was, how do you bring it back into your life and does it tone into
Yeah.
vagal nerve? So that's some of the physical. Right after that, we
Mm.
start meditation, pranayam, yoga. And so
Yeah.
part of our morning is meant to be these practices that bring us into alignment,
Mm.
teach us vagal nerve toning, keep us out of being high cortisol, keep us peaceful and settled, and our investment into holding that peace and having invested in it first thing.
See, that's why I was find Ayurvedic medicine so fascinating that you said it's 5,000 years old or
Yeah.
more because everyone's always says 5,000. So I'm sure it's
Yeah.
over the 5,000 by now. I feel like I'm always saying it's 5,000 years old.
Yeah. Me too.
The science behind it or what they knew, how the innate intelligence of the body works, that all these things you're talking about, the morning routine is really what I've been sharing on my rabbit hole podcast on how to strengthen the vagus nerve and get more vagal tone. It is movement, and that's with the lymphatic system too. It sounds related
Yeah.
to that, but then the tongue scraping, the gargling, that the oil pulling, all that seems to be related to activation, the vagus nerve. But maybe 5,000 years ago, did they know or not know what they're really doing? They just knew it
Yeah.
worked.
They might not have known. They might have just known, hey, we need to support this body. And if we don't create peace in the body, we'll never have peace in the mind, period, peace in the emotions. So much of Ayurveda's goal is really to give you everything you need to build ease and flow. And in modern day times, we're so intense about our lives. Like for me, I'm really intense about my day. And then right at 4 o'clock, I stop. I hit a hard wall and I go, nope, tea time is me time. We're going to decompress from all that amazingness. You did great. Good job being on podcast all day. Now we get to do the yin to the yang because that's what Ayurveda teaches is like, okay, you can be super intense, but then where are you going to let the system rest, recharge, recalibrate? Then you can go back out into the next job.
I say that all the time. I was just being interviewed yesterday as well. And I was sharing my story. Life is not a race, it is a journey. The book I wrote on how I went to adrenal exhaustion, whatever, I don't ever know what to call it anymore, metabolic chaos, and breaking down my body system. But it's really recalibrating and finding that balance into everything. But it's being able to say no, and your no. We learned this 4 years ago or 2025 years ago now that nope is not our problem ever. But you don't have to worry. It's like, it's the
I've
kind of
never
Mel
heard it said
Robbins,
like that.
the let them
Yeah,
theory. It's the same thing. Nope. If you're worrying about someone else's problems, like my brother-in-law and his lack of dating life, or it's like,
right,
nope, that's not our problem. So I
right.
think that's a good breathe. Let it go.
It's true though. We do take so much on. And if we don't understand this modern day verbiage and this concept of vagus nerve, what we're not going to realize as a society, as you know, is that we're in fight or flight all the time. Like the minute I wake up, if I'm not conscious, I'm in go mode. Like I woke up
Mhm.
today, the first thing was like a note and it had 18 tasks. And then I was like, you forgot to meditate. Take a minute. So then I went and sat and did my morning like prayer routine that I do. And then I was like, okay, now you can start being a crazy girl.
Mm.
But until you gift yourself first, we're not gonna, the whole day will go sideways. You know that. You have to
Yeah.
do your steps. And so I did. And then I was like, kids, wasn't this such a great morning? And they're like, yes, mom, fine. So yeah, it's just that consciousness and awareness. So I'm so glad you teach it as
Yeah, I
well.
mean, I learned the hard way, and that's what my mission is to help people avoid going through what I went through. And it was just, you don't need to get up at 3:30 in the morning to check emails, to do this, to do that before you go to work, you're always busy and going till you get home at night, go to bed at 9 o'clock. You're just filling more in the day than we can handle. And it's knowing when to set boundaries and letting go of other stuff that doesn't serve you and eliminating the energy robbers that are causing you toxicity and cleaning up palaces you're talking about internally, but externally is just as important as we talk about those external sources of chronic stress and the hidden sources of chronic stress that we don't know about unless we test, but really looking at the whole person. And that's kind of sounds similar to Ayurvedic medicine. You're working on let's finding harmony. I'm calling it metabolic harmony from within and
Yes.
working on that connection to self-awareness, finding that yin and yang. And what I loved is peace in your body and then peace with yourself.
Yeah.
Another word you said was building ease. And FDN founder Reed Davis, we talk about this all the time, is dis-ease. If you have disease, it's really lack of ease, it's dis-ease, and finding that body's own innate intelligence that we kind of have covered up with muck,
It's true.
years of doing too much stuff. But the
Very true.
ideal day, if we can go back, I just was trying to write notes. If people learn this in your programs, but could you just give a little summary of how to make today the best day ever? I would say, how should we start the day and end the day? You
I
talked
love
about
that.
a few things: movement, the water in the copper cup, tongue
Yeah.
scraper, oil pulling, removing the toxins, detoxing to ignite the fire. Is that kind of the morning routine, or do you want to say
Yeah.
your own summary?
So that's the morning routine, starting there, starting with I woke up, I set my intention for the day. So that's my intention in my field. Mine is always, can I have peace today? Because I just want more peace always. As a mom and as an entrepreneur, I just want peaceful days, and I usually get them. So setting that intention, then doing that morning routine, which is all about digestive fire, detoxing the system. So really, they're your first acts of self-love. It's like bringing that awareness. I matter. I'm doing good things for me.
Mm,
I am worth it. And so I do that morning routine, and then that's usually where my morning routine stops because I've got to get kids to school, get to the gym, and then get to my office. So then what I do is throughout the day I have two different self-care rituals I do. One is called tea time is me time. It's my favorite one, where I pause and have a cup of tea and just check in with myself. And I'm like,
nice.
"How are you doing? How's everything? Have you structured today to be a good day? Is there anything this week that needs to be changed so it's a good week?" And my intuition comes up with great answers like, you forgot this, and no, you shouldn't meet that person. And so, if we can train our intuition to give us
Yeah.
answers, I find we're really building a life that's of a completely different quality of life because we've got our own intuition driving those answers. So that's one. And the other one I do is called collect peace, where a lot of times if I'm driving to from the kids' school, errands, whatever it is, I just do no radio, no phone calls. And I'm in
Mm,
total silence. And I just use that as like a meditation time to just okay, it's like white noise space between me and everything else. Or let's say I'm doing sales, a lot of times with my supplement, I'm running around to meet doctors. I'll find a parking lot, park in front of trees, and just ground with the trees. I'll open the windows, breathe fresh air. Because sometimes we're traveling, we're running around, we're not in our routine, and I still need a way to have my energy grounded and all stress released. So those are my during the day ideas. And then I take up the Ayurvedic self-care rituals again in the evening. And they're ones you could have done in the morning, but I find most people have more time in the evening for these, and they're supportive to a better bedtime. So the
mm,
first one there is dry brushing. We teach about taking a vegetable bristle brush and dry brushing the body, starting at the feet and coming upwards. Yes, exactly,
mm,
towards the heart. And we want to really move that lymphatic system. So Ayurveda said, we have this sheath, we have this layer of the body. It's our job to move it. It's not going to move itself. And now modern day science has shown us we have a lymphatic system, we have fascia, and we have to move our lymph ourselves. And so, isn't it cool? Ayurveda was giving us these tools. It said, do your dry brushing, then do something called Abhyang massage. It's spelled Abhyanga, Abhyang. It just means self massage. So, you take any food grade oil, you warm it up if you can, and you start to massage the body. So, I'll put a towel down in my bedroom and I'll start massaging my body. But really, it's a gifting of oil to your skin. And so you're putting this oil on your skin between your toes, the side of your ankles, coming all the way up. You go in round circles when it comes to the joints, like the back of the knees or your elbows and things like that. On the gut, clockwise circle. Don't do lines on your own gut and dysregulate things. But the goal there is oleation of the skin, oleation of the joints. This is a really relaxing thing to do. When it comes to those three elemental forces, air, which is a lot of us right now, we're so dysregulated, we're so ADHD and going too fast, kind of like a
mm,
tornado. So this one habit's going to ground us and it gives you
mm.
such delicious sleep. And so I have a lot of clients who do Upyoung at night now and love it and tell me how great their skin is, how they're de-aging, and how their sleep is great. And you can take this and massage all the way up to the neck, or you can also do a head oil massage. And so that's how most Indian women have like thick hair is we've been taught since we were kids, you have to do a head oil massage to yourself at least once a week. So you do that. And then I've added in Epsom salt bath because I do think it's such a great detoxing tool. It's another way to relax and ease into the night. When you do shower that oil off, try not to like use soap and take it all off. Leave some there to soak into the skin and continue to have its benefits. And then when it's time for bed, we're all about not consuming anything negative that your brain will chew on overnight. So it's what are your conscious practices? Are you going to journal to release the day? Are you going to read something that's spiritual food for the mind? So that's what your frequency and your mind and your energetic field is tuning into. If you have a question you really need answered, ask your intuition. You'll get the answer because it'll chew on it
Mhm.
overnight. But really honoring that sleep is the most important restorative practice on the circadian clock. And so on that circadian clock, we want you asleep by 10 because we teach that if you're not asleep by 10, that bit the fire energy that we have is going to ramp up. And it's why so many people tell me, I'm a night owl. I'm like, no, you're not. Learn to sleep by 10. You won't be a night owl. You'll realize you were just leveraging the fire towards your work or whatever you were consuming. And you could have used that fire instead to detox the body. And so Ayurveda is a big fan of clear glymphatic, and all of that. And so these rituals are a beautiful thing to do from about 9 to 10, even 8:30 if you want to start early. And you're really easing into a good night's sleep. So it's sleep hygiene, it's sleep rituals, it's investment in deeper sleep, and it's detoxing. And so it's supporting your lymphatic system when your lymphatic system goes to detox you as well.
Hmm. So going back to the oil, you said, what type of oil do you tend to use
So
for the
any
body?
food grade organic oil. So some people use coconut oil. I'm a Pitta fire, so I like coconut oil. We also love sesame oil, unfiltered, untoasted organic sesame oil is a good one because it's got vitamin E. It has a lot of benefits to it. So sesame oil is the preferred oil of choice in Ayurveda, even for oil pulling. Some people love almond oil, olive oil. You can really choose anything.
Yeah, I think I've heard of the sesame oil is a good option. Plus, it doesn't clog your drains if you by accident spit
Yes.
it out if you're doing oil pulling with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Sesame oil was the favorite always.
I'll have to look for that. Now, evening time, I really find is so essential to my routine to optimize my sleep because if you've gone through, adrenal dysfunction, HPA axis, crazy schedule of your sleep schedule, you're awake at 2 in the morning and you're, I'm tired but wired all day. That really prioritizing sleep is, I mean, no social life for me during the week because I gotta go to bed at 8 o'clock and I've got my routine. But those people trying to get to sleep earlier and working on their morning routine to optimize their sleep is part of it. How do we do all this stuff like minimal effective dose? Because not
Mm.
everyone has, a lot of time. Some routines you hear about takes 2, 3 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. Then people, if it's too much stuff, they're not
Yeah.
going to do anything. So maybe what is the minimal effective dose or what's the priority that a must do at least this one thing,
Absolutely.
morning and
So my
night?
number one thing I would never not do is my copper tongue scraper.
Mm.
That tongue scraper is imperative. It's oral health, it's gut health, it's detoxing, it's so much in one tool and it's so fast that one I consider my most non-negotiable. I when I do my public speaking in person in small groups, I always go, look, I love the rituals, but I have a quick and dirty, like I can do it in under 5 minutes version. And do you want to hear it? And they're all like, yes, please share the quick version. Because what you just said sounds like it's an hour. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what you can do? You can practice these on the weekend. Like, let's say you have an hour and you're scrolling social. And you're like, my thought always comes up, you could go do self-care. And then I go upstairs and I'm like, oh, let me do dry brushing. Oh, let me do a ping massage. And once you do it a few times, you actually get faster at the self-care rituals and you learn how to stack them. You can
Mm.
oil pull while you ping massage and dry brush. Both can happen at once because one's happening just storing oil in your mouth. But
Mhm.
my evening routine, if I had no time, if I don't have time to dry brush or massage or anything, I'll take a hot shower, raise that body temp up, ease all my sore muscles from the day, get my body in a more relaxed state. I'll get on my heating pad in bed. I will have my deep sleep tea because I am all about the Ayurvedic herbs that do all the good things, and it'll relax my mind, relax my digestive system, and I'll go to bed. And I won't consume social or junk because I don't want to have that in my mind. But that's like my very quick version because I sometimes can't fit it all in.
Well, it sounds you have children, I heard you say, so
Yeah.
that it takes a lot. And I think, I never could have kids, but I find that people they're taking it's one is prioritizing yourself first and putting that oxygen mask on first theory that it's hard, I think, for parents, but especially for the female who, if you're and working full time and doing all the other stuff, it's not sexist, male, female roles, but female seems to end up,
Yeah.
well, my husband does the cooking, my house, I do the laundry. So it's just how you have all this other stuff to do, plus take care of kids that, all right, where does me time fit in? And it's
Yeah.
great that I hear you saying you're putting in that, having tea time with yourself, you're
Yeah.
having a tea date.
Yeah,
with me, myself, and I, and then you're doing your evening routine and your morning routine and prioritizing that, but just knowing to people that you can still fit one thing in that might just take a few minutes and that you can do habit stacking with other stuff so you can fit that in and not be intimidated like, oh my gosh, this is too much stuff, too overwhelming. I'm not going to do it. My life's too chaotic.
absolutely. Yeah, it is not easy. My kids are older now, they're teens, and so they have minds of their own. They don't believe in sleeping by 10. So it's like a whole new world order in my house. So my attitude is, look, you want to do what you want to do, great. You don't listen, all fine. I am done with my job by 8. Everyone's fed, kitchen is cleaned. Now I'm shifting over my schedule. And if they need something, they can find me. I'm just off doing self-care and doing my own stuff. But it's one of those things where it just got easier in my schedule, and my husband's handling all the serious homework stuff. But until I learned to fit self-care in as my non-negotiable, I wasn't winning as an entrepreneur. I never felt like I was winning as a mom because everything was so sacrificial. And now it feels like, you know what? I matter and you matter. I
Mhm.
handle your life real beautifully. I love my company and where it's going. Everything's going beautifully. And I matter. My health and vibrancy matters. And I actually grow my company through my vibrancy more than anything else. So the self-care is equally important to anything else on the list, which was a big game changer for me.
Now, we originally started the show talking about inflammation, chronic inflammation, or body and gut inflammation, which in Ayurvedic medicine, that is fire, right? Or
Yeah, it's the
what do we call it?
dysregulation of that fire.
So we're putting out the fire. Versus I think inflammation means there's fire going on, but you want fire.
So
Yeah,
you
but
want a healthy, robust fire that does its job. And if we have this toxin burden everywhere, we've got a lymphatic system that's clogged, so we've got this intersection in the body and this traffic jam happening, then yeah, you have these fires happening, but it's all because we don't have one good, healthy, robust fire that can do its job.
so not 10 fires. We want one fire, kind of what I say, metabolic harmony, connecting everything together to work together, create one big healthy fire rather than 10
Yeah,
disruptive fires.
exactly.
Okay. So how do we create this fire? You talked about the routine, any nutritional therapy, other things that we add in to help get our gut healthier so we can have all the other benefits as the gut brain connection. We talked about the gut skin connection,
Yeah. I
joint
mean, we
health.
have it really ties into everything, as you know.
Yeah.
So, gut health with self-care rituals is important because those are interconnected. Gut health with sleep as its own pillar is very important because sleep is when we're going to clean and clear lymphatic system inflammation. So we can't have good gut health without good sleep. But from that nutritional standpoint, we do teach about the circadian diet. So eating on a seasonal diet, eating according to your specific elemental force within seasons matter. So for example, I'm a fire bit that person's really like driven and excited and all about ambitious ideas and visionaries. But the problem with that is we can be a little overblown, over burnt out. We're like volcanoes. And so my job as a pitta is eat for my season. And what happens in the summer? It's burning hot. That's pitta season. But what does the Mother Nature give us? Watermelon, berries, peaches and nectarines. So if we just eat for our season, not only do we have the correct digestive enzymes to absorb those nutrients, but our own doshic imbalances are settled down and calmed down. And so Ayurveda teaches us eat according to your season, eat according to your dosha, eat for nutrient variety. Don't eat these mono diets that lack all variety. Eat for nutrient density. So really the sourcing of your food, who are you buying that from? Where are you bringing it from? How are you preparing it? Are you preparing with intentionality and consciousness, or are you just throwing things together and eating it while watching something else, which we talked about? So if we're shoveling food in and gut doesn't know it's coming, then there's no gut-brain connection. Yes, your oral microbiome knows, okay, she ate tofu and she ate her gluten-free bread and she ate butter on there. Good job. But as it's coming through, did you give the gut the opportunity to release the correct enzymes and acids and fires to process that food? And so really when we talk about gut health, it is all 6 pillars. It's know your dosha, live by your circadian clock, eat
Mhm.
a really beautiful, healthy, robust, conscious diet. How you eat when you eat really matters. Then it's the self-care rituals, it's gut health practices overall, because we can throw off gut any given week. So let's say Friday night I went out and had 2 glasses of wine. Next morning, I'm like, sorry, gut, I apologize. Ginger lemon tea. I'll do a gut reset. Sorry, I did that. So I auto make sure I repair what I did because I know I'm not going to be perfect, but I have the toolkit to repair and then move on. And then, of course, great probiotics, great supplements. If we're not going to use the modern day tools that exist, back then we made our own yogurt at home. Back then we had a lot of practices around probiotic rich foods, fermented foods, pickled foods. Nowadays, we don't have those habits. And so we have to reach into the supplement world to get that benefit. And then finally, the super spices. The super spices are very powerful polyphenols. Turmeric alone has gut microbiome supports in it. It is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and it supports the gut lining as well. And so it'll go in there and kill off what doesn't belong and only keep the good. And it's a powerful anti-inflammatory antioxidant. So I reach a lot into turmeric, even for gut support and for immune support as well.
So in that, so you're looking at, so I have your website. I can just pop that. Which website would you share for find that
So
turmeric info?
my turmeric info is on fusionaryformulas.com, Fusionary formulas, and then my
Let me
dosha
share
quiz and
it. Let me
everything
share it.
else.
I like
Yeah,
visual aid. So
yeah.
I think this one,
I can't see it yet.
oh, it's not on there. So looking
Yes.
at turmeric,
Yeah.
and we've heard about this and how it needs to be with black pepper to be absorbed. Talk a little bit about the research on turmeric and inflammation in the body, because we're speaking to people that exercise a lot, people that
Yes.
have joint inflammation, and I think everyone has some type of gut inflammation. And then I want to get if any testing that we can do if their CRP levels are high or if they have leaky gut. How does turmeric work? And then we'll dive into my
Sure.
FD inside questions.
Sure. So out of the entire turmeric plant, only 3% of it is the curcuminoids. And of that 3% of curcuminoids, we know curcumin is the most effective at reducing inflammation. And so when I studied turmeric, I thought, wow, you're telling me this one spice is such a powerful anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and then, like I said, immune supportive. And so what most people don't realize is if you're going to take turmeric, the fresh turmeric is fine. A lot of people juice it and they use it. We didn't use it in its fresh form much in ancient India or in modern day India. We took the raw plant and dried it into the spice. And so that
Mm.
spice turmeric that you buy at any health food store or grocery store, really, people use for centuries for color agents. They thought it's a great way to color everything yellow. But they didn't realize that turmeric itself has so many benefits. It is, like I said, those benefits and so much more. Longevity, anti-aging, reverses oxidative species in the system, kills off zombie cells that are affecting everything else and causing aging in the system. Um, Works on the same pathway as metformin, can help with obesity because anti-inflammation supports anti-obesity as well. When you're going to use turmeric, the spice, use it with black pepper or a healthy fat. Always. We know black pepper increases the absorption by 2000%. We know that healthy fat also helps absorption. So pick either road. There's no apples to oranges, apples to apples comparison, but both are beneficial. And then finally, there's that extract that I mentioned. So once I realized the power of turmeric, I wanted to develop an extract because I wanted to see, hey, when I go to the doctor and he says just take NSAIDs for 10 days and then I have stomach aches after, the system is not working for me. I needed an alternative. And post kids, I had plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, all these issues. And every time when they gave me NSAIDs, I would get stomach aches, and I kept thinking, you don't know my history, but the worst thing you can do to me is hurt my stomach. I've done a lot to
Mm.
invest in a great gut and body now. Don't
Mm.
take that away from me over a pain solution. And so I created these formulas 10 years ago. And my dream was, can I just source it so well for such potency? So when you extract that curcumin, you land above the standard. You're not just doing the minimal work to reach the standard. And we give those curcuminoids in the right proportion so you mimic nature. That's a key piece because a lot of times in supplements, you can do all sorts of things. You can just extract anything in any process. But if you partner with the right people, you can actually do things with such purpose and integrity. And that's where you drive a completely different result. And so when we built these formulas, I was even shocked because I brought it to orthopedics first and said, hey, for people like me, can you just offer a natural solution and let's see what the patient says? And so now tens of thousands of people have taken it and they're like, yep, my pain is gone. I don't have to take anything for pain on a daily basis. I just take these two formulas. It was my orthos who put the two together. I always thought of them as separate. You take turmeric gold as a daily preventive. You take inflammation relief if you know you're inflamed. And they put the two together for that chronic joint pain crowd.
So that this one turmeric gold has 1,000 milligrams of turmeric, and then the inflammation relief that has different ingredients, but it's turmeric in it, 400 milligrams. Oops.
Yeah,
So I was,
so turmeric gold is actually 500 milligrams per capsule. So these are actually labeled differently. That one is 500 milligrams per capsule, 1,000 milligrams per day in the serving.
mm,
And on this one, which we need to check why there's an old label on one of these that you're showing,
sorry.
400 milligrams. That's okay. Lessons learned. You never know who's updating your website wrong. But inflammation relief has 400 milligrams of curcumin because I had a theory. Can you build a formula with all the synergistic herbs of Ayurveda that ancient India used for inflammation and pack them all in a pill? And what will that do for the system? And so this one's that true ancient Ayurvedic orchestra of herbs coming together. And so it has a little less curcumin because I needed room in the capsule.
Well, it's also I'm looking at what is the research done on with, say, turmeric, because we're speaking of this curcumin to create the result you're looking for, to decrease joint inflammation or gut health or gut inflammation. And so looking at the dose to be effective to create those results you're looking for, but also the bioavailability of it. Is it better to get through food, but you probably have to take like how much
A lot.
more if you that's why I always explain because people are like, oh, yes, all these different supplements, but there's some things that you need, but you have to say like you need 10 cups of it to get the same amount that you can get in one capsule. So
Yeah.
the delivery, the mechanism of action, and the bioavailability, anything on that we can add in.
Sure. So we use the black pepper to increase that bioavailability in the system, the absorption of it. The way I extract and form that curcumin is like our proprietary special thing. And we've seen the results of that for the last 10 years. And when it comes to synergistic effects, it's been interesting because I'm very pro turmeric gold. And in my business partner, my COO, is very pro inflammation relief. And so she's a pickleball player. She's always exercising, she's always in
Uh,
motion. So this helps her for her recovery, helps keep her in the game. And so she loves it. And for me, I'm very pro, I need an immune system that defends me all at all
mm.
cost. And so I take turmeric gold because I'm not always running inflammation. But anytime I'm going to eat an inflammatory meal, if I'm traveling and we know planes and all these things have impacts on us. If I'm eating outside, I know there's going to be lots of ingredients that inflame me, seed oils and those kinds of things. Or if I hurt myself, I will take inflammation relief with my turmeric gold. So it just depends on which approach you have. For me, I fly into India, I meet my suppliers, and what's really exciting is botanicals in India are now sourced and built with such consciousness. So they own the farmlands, they work with the farmers, and they specifically grow the strains that provide the biggest benefit. They're watching the quality controls all the way through. They're extracting in very special ways, constantly pushing the science forward. So there's a lot of movement in Ayurvedic botanicals right now in such a positive direction, even with ashwagandha and other things. So this time when I was in India, it was just really exciting to see that when it comes to utilization of herbs from India, in my case, I produce it in the US, so I can third party test pre, mid, and post production. It was very important to me that what I made was safe for doctors' offices and that they felt comfortable recommending it. And so for the last couple of years, I've worked with ortho, rheumatology, primary care, GI doctors, functional medicine, because as long as we're making supplements we can trust for, medical grade supplements, there's such a powerful result you can see in the patient. And you know that because there's so many great supplement companies out there right now creating incredible probiotics and different products that we take. So yeah, I
Mm.
made the two turmeric supplements first. Then I thought, can I make a tea that's so functional, it's as effective as a supplement? So I made one for sleep, I made one for menopause symptoms. They're lovely. Then I thought we all need help unwinding at the end of the day. And so I made one called Unwind Tea. I made one called
Mm.
Detox Tea to support gut digestive fire and movement in the system. So yeah, to me, functional teas are a beautiful way to get your supplements in without having to take the supplement as well. I
I
didn't, I won't
love
make a
that.
turmeric tea though, because it's hard to dose such
Mm.
a highly potent turmeric and curcumin into people. I wouldn't want to put in a tea and give people the freedom to give themselves too much of it at once.
I think people forget or maybe don't know that tea bags are a great delivery system of getting herbal medicine into your body. That you think
Absolutely.
tea is just another beverage, but it's actually medicine for your body and
Absolutely.
drinking something yummy, usually.
Absolutely. It's fun. It's a fun habit to bring in. It's comforting. For me, if I'm hungry, sometimes I'm like, why don't you have a cup of tea first? Why don't you hydrate first and see if you're actually hungry? And sometimes I'm not. I'm craving something. But
Mm.
yes, functional teas, you can put a lot of medical grade potent herbs into a formula to deliver a
Mhm.
result, which is really exciting.
Now, this tea, couple of questions I was going to ask next, and we're running out of time. I know how do you say that?
Drifala.
Triphala, Triphala. I know I had someone that was into Ayurvedic medicine, seeing an Ayurvedic doctor, and she had constipation, slow motility. And
Yes.
this was always suggested to help people improve their mobility, motility,
Yeah.
mobility of their poops, but
Yes.
motility
Yeah,
elimination.
triphala is a favorite in Ayurveda. Favorite, always used for that. Like guts off, just take triphala at night. You'll be all set in the morning. Another one I do is I just have aloe vera juice. There's a brand called George's. It tastes like water. I'll just take a shot of that in the morning. And if I haven't gone to the bathroom, I definitely will. And then the task is handled. That's why we
Mm-hmm.
teach the water. We also teach ginger lemon tea in the morning. These are all the little habits that contribute.
And the question is, we talk about chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, and the opposite of that is anti-inflammatory and antioxidants. Do you have anything to add in to explain what even that means when we say inflammation in the body?
Absolutely. Inflammation to me is this chronic low-grade fire. And
Mhm.
oftentimes it's coming from things like leaky gut, coming from that gut dysbiosis, coming from us not eating the diet that's correct for our bodies. We're eating against our own body, us not building that digestive fire to be as strong. And so I think we do underestimate as a society what the oxidative stresses are doing to us. And any stress in the system is going to cause inflammation. It's our body's reaction to, hey, that doesn't belong here. I don't know what that is. That's not good for me. I'm going to create inflammation. And so, what we don't realize is everything in our life is inflammatory.
Mhm.
All the stressors, mental inflammation is a big one I talk about. And I'm writing a book for Hay House right now that's coming out in January 2026. And in it, I talk about mental inflammation, the stressors that are impacting us moment to moment and not allowing us to stay healthy. Like you talked about adrenal fatigue, or what's your water quality? What's your air quality? What's your food quality? Are you cooking in seed oils? Are you cooking in anything that's against the body? It's an anti-nutrient. And thus, it's causing that inflammation. And so living an anti-inflammatory lifestyle is really a defensive life plan that's necessary in today's time. And so to me, turmeric is a great daily support to make sure that we're supporting that reduction of the chronic inflammation that we know is happening no matter what we do. And then also adding on other herbs. That's why I made deep sleep tea. It's like delicious florals to hide really powerful Ayurvedic herbs. It's got Brahmi, ashwagandha, osmanthus, cardamom. Those will affect digestion to settle for the night and mind to settle for the night so we can have better quality sleep. So that's the my favorite thing to build is how do I keep creating solutions for us? And then I'll teach the lifestyle too, but at least let's get the solutions in place and then we can work on lifestyle.
Yeah, well said. I so this the I always think really inflammation is it visualizing a cell that is just getting so inflamed? How would you in Ayurvedic medicine say what exactly is at a cellular level that's happening?
We think of inflammation more as a residue. So we think of
Mm.
it as what we call ama or a toxin residue. That's the negative byproduct of poor digestion. So if you imagine your whole body and you imagine a slime that kind of is forming around your joints and in random places. Sometimes I think of my love handles as like a storage area of toxins. Like these are fat cells that are not going the way they're supposed to. And if no matter what you're doing through diet and exercise isn't working, that's a sign. Lymphatic is clogged, inflammation is there, you're in a traffic jam and nothing is clearing. So I think of it as a slime. And
Mhm.
thus daily self-care clears it. Quarterly self-care clears it even better. Sleeping at night, daily health habits affects. But if we're not going to invest in daily self-care and quarterly self-care, that slime just keeps continuing to build. And then it gets harder to remove. And then we wonder why we have chronic metabolic diseases.
Yeah, because I'm just always curious about really looking at how everything works at a cellular level and how the body works together, so that metabolic harmony, and how to be fit and healthy from the inside out as we age at a cellular level is really looking at like how do we get at all the body organs, the hormones, everything in symphony playing together,
Right.
creating
Yeah,
this musical harmony. And I think doctors are taught treat one thing at a time. And I
true.
know when my dad went to hospital, it was the heart doctor, kidney doctor. And so that's
Right.
when I started paying attention, like, how come you guys aren't working the body works as a whole and looking at that? So I love Ayurvedic medicine, how the different approach and using intuition as well.
Yeah, and understanding that we're each so bio-individual. Ayurveda says you're born with your dosha. So you might be 60% fire, 40% air. That might be your combo. I'm probably 80% fire, 10% earth because I'm very mother nature, and then 10% air because I'm like all over sometimes in my brain, excited about doing 200 things at once. And so whatever that combo is, that doshic template that you are, that blueprint, can really guide you in all these things that we're talking about today, in detoxification, in our self-care, in our sleep. Because you're right, if we aren't supporting the cells at that cellular level, we're going to constantly have zombie cells and damaged cells, malignant cells, inflamed cells, all these issues. And then we're not supporting, like you're talking about, hormone health and all the things that matter.
Hmm. I love it. I know we're out of time. Where do we want to send people? I'll put all the links in the show notes. So
Sure.
share more how people can learn more about you.
Absolutely. My website is my name, shivanigupta.com, Shivanigupta. And there you can find my dosha quiz, my 7-day free inflammation challenge, my book that'll be out very, very soon. And then on my supplement company site at fusionaryformulas.com, I made a special code, Coach POTS, POTTS, will give you 15% off at Fusionary. And I also have the Fusionary Health podcast for anyone who loves podcasts to learn more about Ayurveda and all these different systems of health.
We'll definitely listen to your podcast, as I already said 10 times. I just find Ayurvedic medicine so freaking fascinating. And just as always, when I've had two other people on that Ayurvedic medicine that works for Quality of Mind and B Minerals, and they're doctors of Ayurvedic medicine. And I'm like, oh wait, I forgot to talk about what we're supposed to talk about. It's just so intriguing to me. So I
Yeah,
appreciate listening and to you and learning more on the podcast.
for sure. Thank you for having me.